in a city like New York, it's too dense. So because it is so dense and because there's so many people, even living in a city block, there might be 10,000 people. You go, well, I can't know all these 10,000 people, even in a city block. So you just don't. So we need
Yeah.
a much more moderate density. A city like Venice is probably a really good example about how dense it should be for us so we can actually get our mind around knowing people. I met a tour guide in Venice, and I asked her how long it took for her to get from her apartment to the dock where she picked us up. And she said between 15 minutes and an hour and a half. And I go, Venice isn't that big. I've walked the whole island. How could it be either 15 minutes or an hour and a half? And she says, well, it depends on the time of day and whether my friends are out. So if her friends are out, she has to stop and have all these conversations along the way before she gets to the dock. And that's the way it should be, where it's this serendipitous conversations and engagement. We should be able to walk out of our door and see a community of people who was already there. That way we don't have to plan it in advance. It just naturally is always there happening. So that's
Yeah.
the big challenge for us in meeting with people is we have to schedule it and coordinate their time frame and our frames and emails and the rest of it versus just walking outside of our door and there always being another group of people who we can be in community with.
Yeah, it reminds me of when people starting to go back from remote work to their offices. What they're really talking about is these like serendipitous walk when you're walking to the coffee and somebody else is working from like in front of you and you're just chatting on the way, or when you sit in the coffee and you're just doing that and you cannot really usually don't do it when it's on Zoom calls. You just say how are you and then you
Right.
start talking about work, right? And they really miss that. So
Yes.
before we're done, I have to hear more about Urth. So how do you think we're going to fix this way of like we're so focused on hearing and focusing on bad things and consuming them, and everything which is too good is boring. So how would we change that?
So Urth is a mission disguised as a social media network. We are developing a completely new category of social media called civil media. And civil media means two things. It means number one, kind and respectful discourse. We have both the policy and the technology, which will engineer people being much more civil. The number one complaint that we hear from people is I'm afraid of posting because I just want to be myself without the fear of being pounced upon. You will once again be able to be your authentic self on social media to share your strong opinions, your sadnesses, your grievances, your excitement, and share your real self without fear of being pounced upon. So that's the first thing we'll solve with civil media. We will eliminate bots, trolls, and most misinformation. So that's the first part of civility. The second part of civility comes from the Latin root, which is for the benefit of the Commonwealth. So civil media is actually about collective action. We are not building really a technology platform. Yes, it is a technology platform, but what it really is a brand new cooperative construct. It is a new way for people to cooperate at scale, which means 10,000, 100,000, a million, or a billion. It will allow for strangers to cooperate at large scale to solve either local, national, or global problems. I don't know what issue you care about most, what national or global issue hits your heart most. It could be wealth inequality. It could be deforestation. It could be ocean pollution. It could be sexism. It could be violence. For me, it happens to be climate change. But no matter what problem you want or worried about, there right now are no good solutions. The governments are not moving fast enough. Corporations don't have the economic interest in solving problems, and international organizations like UN and NATO don't have the teeth to compel cooperation. However, I know that at least 51% of all of humanity cares about climate change and wants to do something. Urth is not just a social media platform. Yes, you can post about your day and you can share videos about your cats and you can watch entertainment videos. But more importantly, you can share about problems We can coalesce around what those problems are, and then we can work together to solve really big problems. So it's not only like conversation. So social media is a conversation. It is conversation with civility and, more importantly, collective action. Urth will become the largest civil media network on the planet. We will have billions of users around the world, all collectively working together to solve our species' biggest problems.
Thank you. It sounds really, really interesting. So I would love to hear more, and that's a good time to ask you, where could people hear more about what you're doing and to go and visit Urth with the U?
You, right? It's Urth, URTH.cc. And CC stands for conscious creator. We don't call anybody on our platform a user. The only two industries that use the term users are software companies and drug dealers, which means they objectify people. We do not. We believe that every single human being on our platform is a conscious creator. So that's Urth.cc.